in a tense encounter that unfolded in the early hours of March 9th morning. U.S. Secret Service personnel shot an armed man just 1 block away from the White House. The incident occurred shortly after midnight on March 9th, near the intersection of 17th and G Streets Northwest in Washington, D.C., near the Eisenhower Executive Office building. Secret Service agents have been alerted by local police about a potentially suicidal individual traveling from Indiana to the nation's capital. The man's vehicle was discovered parked near 17th and F Streets adjacent to the White House perimeter. As officers approached a person matching the suspect's description, the situation rapidly escalated. Secret Service personnel were involved in a shooting following an armed encounter with a person of interest shortly after midnight on March 9th at 17th and G Streets Northwest. The confrontation turned dangerous when a suspect brandished a firearm, prompting Secret Service officers to discharge their weapons. The injured man was promptly transported to a nearby hospital. At this time, authorities have not released information regarding his condition or identity. Notably, President Donald Trump was not at the White House during this incident. The president was staying at his Mar-a-Lago resort in Florida when the shooting took place. The Metropolitan Police Department's Internal Affairs Division has taken the lead in investigating the serious security incident. Specifically, the Force Investigation Team, which handles all law enforcement officer-involved shootings in the District of Columbia, is conducting a thorough examination of the circumstances surrounding the confrontation. Secret Service Uniform Division Chief Michael Buck provided initial information at a media briefing held at the scene, though details remain limited as the investigation continues. This investigative response follows standard protocol for use of force incidents within the district that on Sunday, March 9th, an adult male was shot by U.S. Secret Service personnel following an armed confrontation with law enforcement in Washington, D.C. Earlier on Saturday, local police shared information about a suicidal individual who may be traveling to Washington, D.C. from Indiana around midnight. Members of the Secret Service encountered the individual's parked vehicle near 17th and F Streets in W. They also saw an individual on foot matching the description nearby. AS officers approached. The individual brandished a firearm and an armed confrontation ensued, during which shots were fired by our personnel. The suspect was transported to an area hospital and his condition is unknown. There were no reported injuries to Secret Service personnel. The incident is under investigation by the Metropolitan Police Department, Internal Affairs Division's Force Investigations Team, which investigates all law enforcement officer-involved shootings in the District of Columbia. While authorities continue gathering evidence, many questions remain unanswered, including the suspect's intentions and what specifically prompted his journey to an area so close to the White House. A particularly noteworthy aspect of this case is how law enforcement cooperation potentially prevented a more serious incident. Local police alerting the Secret Service about a potentially suicidal individual demonstrates the critical importance of information sharing between different law enforcement agencies. The suspect had traveled to Washington, D.C. on the previous day, prompting local authorities to notify the Secret Service. This early warning allowed agents to be on heightened alert, potentially limiting the scope of the incident. This latest incident highlights the persistent security challenges facing Washington, D.C., particularly around critical government facilities like the White House. The presidential residence and workplace remain one of the most heavily guarded buildings in the United States, with multiple layers of security managed by the Secret Service. The armed confrontation underscores the very real threats that law enforcement officials face daily while protecting government officials and key sites. This incident, occurring just 1 block from the president's official residence, demonstrates the ongoing need for vigilance and rapid response capabilities. Security concerns have been heightened during President Trump's administration during his first term. A similar incident occurred in August 2020 when a 51-year-old suspect fired shots towards the White House. That gunman reportedly ran aggressively towards agents before being shot in the torso. President Trump, who was giving a press briefing inside the West Wing at the time, was temporarily removed from the press room as a precaution before later returning to continue his briefing. Shooting comes amid growing concerns about threats directed towards high-profile government officials recently. Elon Musk, whom President Trump appointed to lead the newly formed Department of Government Efficiency, or DOGE, expressed fears about potential assassination attempts in a text message exchange. With Ashley St. Clair, Musk stated, "I'm number 2 after Trump for assassination." The Tesla billionaire has faced substantial criticism for his role managing DOGE, where he has proposed significant reductions in federal funding and the restructuring of multiple government agencies to reduce costs. These controversial policies have reportedly led to increased threats against his safety. President Trump himself has survived multiple assassination attempts, most notably during an open-air campaign rally near Butler, Pennsylvania, where 20-year-old Thomas Matthew Crooks shot the then-candidate, wounding him in his upper right ear. This incident during the campaign highlighted the significant security challenges facing high-profile political figures. Despite the concerning nature of the incident, security protocols appear to have functioned as intended. Secret Service agents responded quickly to the armed suspect, neutralizing the potential threat before it could approach even closer to sensitive government facilities. The incident occurred sufficiently far from the White House that normal operations were not disrupted. No Secret Service personnel were injured during the confrontation, indicating that the response was executed with professional precision. The multi-layered security approach protecting the White House involves numerous visible and invisible measures, including physical barriers, surveillance systems, armed personnel, and intelligence gathering. This incident demonstrated how advanced intelligence from local police can integrate with on-the-ground response to address potential threats. Anthony Guglielmi later provided an update to media inquiries, stating at this time there is no indication of another briefing. However, in the event there is one, we will let you and your team know. As investigations continue into this incident, security experts emphasize that constant vigilance remains essential for protecting government institutions and officials. The shooting near the White House serves as a reminder of the unpredictable nature of security threats and the necessity for robust response mechanisms. Authorities are continuing to gather all relevant details to ensure a thorough review of the events surrounding the incident. Questions remain about what specifically motivated the individual to travel from Indiana to Washington, D.C., and whether he intended to target the White House or government officials. The Metropolitan Police Department's Internal Affairs Division will be examining all aspects of the confrontation, including the use of force by Secret Service personnel. Such investigations typically review adherence to protocols, appropriateness of response, and whether alternative measures could have been employed.